All right. So this is the second part. I want to talk about the series I'm gonna make, and it's about the language. It's a new perspective. Language from a new perspective. So you watched the first part. So this is the second part, and where I'm gonna start off. So our physical body is always in the moment, in the always in the present, always it's always existing. Our physical body. So therefore, it cannot lie. It cannot be the other way around. It exists. It's there. It's the truth. It's always there. And we and it seems like that we found, as I mentioned it in the first part, it seems like that we use language that we speak verbal, communicate one another. It's kind of like a tool to create a world of illusion, of images with one another when we communicate, when we have a conversation, when we have a dialogue, when we have discussions. So we use language as a tool to create that world of illusion and images while we speak to one another. And we also know that a lie, and we know so everything what is an illusion or what is an image is actually a lie because it doesn't exist, right? But somehow, and that's the interesting thing, is that we use it, but we still use that tool language when we speak to create that world of images in illusion, and we communicate with that. So a lie can only exist in illusion, in images. Well, I don't want to go into deep that now. At that moment, I will go deeper in that in another part of my series. That's why you see that. That's the thing. That's why you never should swear or promise or make a commitment something that is in the future. Something which is not in the present. Something which is not in that moment. Which is not in the in the now. So you never should do that. That's in the future way. So you never should actually agree, make a promise, or swear or commit something in the future. And now comes the little tricky part when I explain that. But we use language which is actually not the verbal speaking, which is actually not physically existing. It's actually just air we talking, right? But those words we speak creates those images and this illusion. So when we speak to one another with words, I say always we play with words. That's what I always say. When we communicate, we play with words, and we actually don't know what we're actually really doing in a deeper sense. So it's we creating illusions and images, and creating this world between that person and that person, or if there's more person, this invisible world of images and illusion. So we found kind of like a passion in language, because language has a time element involved, which I talked in the previous part, and that's interesting. It's the past, the past, the present, and the future. And the language is for me kind of like but first I should go. So it has. So the language has a time element involved, a gap. You create time, right, with past, present, and future, and but the actuality is that your physical body is always in the truth, is always in the present, is always in the moment, in that now. So we speak mostly everything what is not visible, what is not, you cannot touch it, you cannot hold it, you cannot, and that's language. So language, we speak actually air, and we create with that words. When we communicate, we create, so to speak, another invisible world of language besides our existing physical body world. And it seems like to me that the language is kind of like a snake. You know, the language is like a snake, and that snake travels. It creates those illusions, these images in our minds, in our brain, to make those commitments, to make those traps of agreement, to make those commitment, to make those promises and swear, and out of that comes eventually a lie. Because when you promise something, or when you swear something, or when you commit something, or when you agree to something which is in the future, in that time between the moment and that what is nowhere, which is somewhere over there, which is not existing, but in the world of words, in the world of language, which is invisible, there's a time gap involved. And in that time gap, can anything happen to make you, to break the agreement, to break the commitment you did, to break the promise you made, or what you were, or you sweared on. So the language is much more. There's much something more going on besides we know it from the school. You know, this basic definition what language is, but there is something much more into it, which I think we are not aware of it, and we put ourselves in traps with it. I don't know. I hope it makes some sense. It makes sense, and I will go more into it in the third part. But I hope you guys get it, and I know it's not a casual talk, a daily conversation. I think that the language is kind of like a snake that brings us, that creates great illusions, images, an invisible world we cannot touch, but it exists in our brain or in our mind, and we shouldn't put our whole energy, our whole effort into speaking verbal words. I hope that makes sense. But I will go into it more and more in the next coming up part. So just stay tuned, and yeah, it's really quite interesting. It's amazing and astonishing how language actually works, you know. And I'm not talking, and I know you guys would say, or you guys would go instantly immediately about, yeah, but language, we need to communicate and change information, data, and for school purpose and education. I know all that, so I get rid of that already. I'm not talking about that kind of stuff. There is something more into language we're not aware of, and that's what I'm trying to bring it up. So stay tuned, and thanks for watching. Bye.